Hello, this is Rob here from robcubbon.com, and I'm going to give you an introduction today about extending an image. Now, there's many reasons why you'd want to do this. One of the most common reasons is if you want to put type or text over an image and you want to put it down there but it's interfering with the glasses. You want to put it up here, but it's just a little bit too close to the glasses. So the best thing to do is just extend the image. So when you want to do this, always the first thing you must do is to make sure you have at least a copy of the background layer, or that the background layer isn't locked in the way it is here. And there's several ways you can do that. First of all, you can click Command or Control J to copy that layer, and now you have two layers exactly the same, but the top layer isn't locked. So with the Move tool selected, you can move it around anywhere. Secondly, you could double click the background layer and click OK. That has changed the background layer to layer 0, which you can move with the Move tool selected. But there's several other ways of doing this, but we're going to double click and then press return again, like we just did just now. And now I'm going to do Command J, so I actually have a copy of them. And I'm going to turn the visibility off. And the second thing you do after unlocking the background image is to create extra space on your image that you want to extend the image into. And to do this, you do Image, Canvas Size, or Command Option C, or Control Alt C. And it doesn't matter if you have pixels, centimeters, or inches selected here, but the point is you're extending the canvas, you're not extending the image. And you'll see what I mean after I've gone through this step. But first you see this box here. And what does this mean? Well, this shows you where you can extend the image to. So at the moment you're extending the image left and right and up and down. But because this image of Google Glass goes into the right hand side here, we can't extend it off to the right because we'll have to build the right hand arm of the Google Glass, and that would be too difficult. So we put that grey box here, and that means it will only extend out bottom, top and left, and not to the right. So we can increase the width now, and it's 1280, I'll put it up to 600, and the height. The height is nearly 700, so I'll put it up to 1000. And when we go OK, you'll see that the image has extended top and bottom and to the left. If I just go back and show you what would happen if I didn't move that box along, that puts the image in the middle of the box, which we didn't want. So here is the image. This grey and white checkered background is the sign from Adobe Photoshop that that area of the image is transparent. And so we're going to fill that with the background. And the way we fill it with the background is by taking a sample of that very light blue in the background and then filling the background with that colour. So in order to take a sample of the colour, we start with the eyedropper tool and click it anywhere on the background. And this has made the foreground colour in the toolbar that particular blue. So if I click on it, you'll see that blue, and where it's selected in the colour picker, you'll also get the various readings of the RGB, that's red, green, blue, the CMYK, that's cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and the hexadecimal reference, which is a reference of a colour that a web browser will understand. And in order to fill the rest of the image with this colour, we can go Edit, Fill. But before I do that, I'm going to get the Layers palette up, and I'm going to make a new layer, and I can do that by going Command Shift Option N or Control Alt Shift N. I can click a new layer there in the layer palette, or I can go here in the drop down menu of the layer palette and select New Layer. I can also do it up here, Layer, New Layer. So there are many ways of doing the same thing. So I can fill this layer now with the colour. So I can go Edit, Fill, and I'll select the foreground colour as that's the colour we want it to fill with. So I'll OK that, and of course it's made our Google Glass disappear, and that's because the fill layer is above the Google Glasses and we'll drag it down to make sure that we can see the Google Glass. Now this isn't perfect because we can see where the edges of the original photo were, and that's because there are subtle changes in the background colour of this image. So how do we make sure that this background colour merges smoothly in all parts of the image? Well, one thing we could do is get the brush tool, and because the foreground colour is set to our colour in the background, we can then go over the edges and blur it in. Of course we'd need a bigger brush, and the edges of the brush would need to be totally blurred, so we put the hardness down to 1000, and the size of the brush we can make very big, and we can reduce or increase the size of the brush by pressing the open and close square brackets on the keyboard. So first of all we need to step on to the glasses layer, not the background, else this colour won't show up, and then we'd want to go all around the edge of the Google Glass like that, and that merges in the colour quite nicely. However, this isn't a very professional way of doing things because you might want to revisit it and change it again, but we've done that on that layer with the glass. So if I make the bottom layer invisible, you can see that now there's a blur around this original Google Glass image. So I'm going to Command Z that and put it back to the original image and show you another way of doing it. And this is very similar, but it has the added advantage of leaving this layer untouched so that you can go back to it. And that is with a layer mask. And in order to add a layer mask, we'll be coming back to this later. I'll do more videos about this later. But all you have to do is click on this Add Layer Mask, which does nothing but adds an invisible layer mask over the layer. And then if you paint black over the white layer mask, that obscures certain parts of the image. And we can do that with the exact same brush we have selected, with the exact same size and level of softness. And you'll notice that the foreground and background has now changed to black and white, the default settings, and that's because we have the layer mask selected. If we went back onto the actual layer, the foreground and background colours will change to the ones we had previously, but on the layer mask they default to black and white, and that's because with the black you can just paint in the black on the layer mask, which obscures that part of the layer. So you can go in with much greater detail. And another great advantage of this is if you make a mistake, you can then turn the black to white and paint back what you've erased. And I'll show you the layer palette now, and as you can see, the layer mask has the edges of the original image painted out in black, which allows the nice seamless background that we have now extended onto the original picture. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. This is Rob from robcubbing.com. Goodbye.